It's a pretty. Hello. I'm good. I haven't. Yeah, yeah, sure.
This is Janae. She is our assistant principal.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Brandon is going to join us because I know that Brandon knows.
You want me to call him?
No. I feel like I'm running around today. He might be on with me.
Okay.
He might be like, forget her. I'm out of here.
Yeah, people trying to leave you.
This light is gonna drive us crazy.
Oh, we got one of those sensor lights. We have to like dance to like keep it on.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
but they're new, and this one just keeps. We can't quite get it right. It keeps blinking.
Oh.
So I'm not sure why you wanted me. I kind of assumed you just wanted me to listen.
Well, you are smart as well. Yes.
Okay, I just assumed that there's things I need to listen to because I'm new to Keller, and there's.
I know.
I know there's a lot, and so I just
want to give like. I'm not here to vent or anything like that. That's not what I'm here for. My kids go to this school. You guys are second parents, and you guys help and teach them. And like I teach them to listen to you guys, and you guys have the same problems that I would experience at home. I mean, this is just how school works.
Yeah.
I've been in school half my life. But my situation that I have going on demands like, I feel it demands like our relationship be more transparent, more clear, because it affects my children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm essentially here for. Okay. You guys do an excellent job. I wouldn't have kept my kids here for the time that they've been here for multiple years. Okay. This issue that I have, it's really going to be in two parts because I want to discuss, some of the issues that I have going on and how it transpires and transfers over to the school and how you guys are seeing it. So just to give a brief synopsis, this is a new phenomenon that is happening between me and my ex. This is not something that has been going on for a decade or something like that. Me, myself, personally, I am learning how things are with her as I go about. So this is also very new to me unless I get a knock on my door from the police, DCS, or somebody trying to serve me, right? This is how I find my information, right? Before all of that, this was an open line of communication. She would call, she would text, she would email, we would go have coffee, we would do family functions together, and we would communicate on a very easy, open basis. If she had any issue, I got that information, and they would, and she would say, do you want me to call your dad? Right, like just something typical.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to call dad. Dad's the disciplinarian. That's not my only job, but definitely dad's punishments are a lot less severe than yours. We'll deal with you. Okay. The school even knew that. All her teachers understood that. If Layla or Ridwan are having an issue, do you want me to call your dad? No, I'll listen to you. Right. What's up? So, my ex, in a nutshell, does not want me in the children's life. Like, that's just point blank, easy discussion, okay? And she's doing as much as she can in order to make that possible for her. without going into super details, one of the main things that she wants me eliminate out is simply due to the fact I'm holding her back, right? She wants to move on and she wants to do other things that does not require that's not in Arizona.
Okay.
I can't do that, right? I can't allow you to take the kids to California, for instance, and live there. Before, I don't know how much of the information she told you, but before, when we divorced, she moved up here to Mesa, okay, and I still lived in Tucson, okay.
I had seen that you guys are in Tucson. I saw it in Layla's records.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I lived in Tucson. She lived here in Mesa. I got the kids every single week. Never missed a day in 2 years. Okay. If she needed a break, if she needed me to come up here on the weeks, I did that. Not a problem. Okay. Mr. Hay, all her teachers, there was conferences, there was issues where they called me in Tucson and I made it here before Tasha did, and she lived closer, and she worked down the street. So I've always been present, always been very active. Wait, is the counselor going to be here?
She was going to be here, but I don't know if she had an off-campus meeting, but
She had a conflict.
Yeah.
I see. No problem. Is she also Redwan's counselor?
We have one counselor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Because I remember you guys had a floater for a while, and you guys had a hard time getting somebody in.
Well,
here.
last year they had a couple of different people.
Oh yeah, I know.
We have one consistent full time this year, and
Okay.
she's good.
She's new to the school like we are, but she's here every day.
Okay. I want to meet with her later.
I know she will. I know she's very open to meeting with you as well. She was really, she was really not happy to not be here. But
tell her, don't worry.
Okay.
Just ask her to just find free time, mark it in her calendar, and just email me.
Yeah.
That's how
She
flexible
will.
I am.
She will.
And do you want a face-to-face or?
Oh, absolutely. I want face to face.
You did meet her at the conference, right? So
I did,
okay.
but it was really more.
You can't talk about this in front of me.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah,
So just so you have a visual of who she is then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If I saw her in Fry's, I'd be like, "Hey, I know you from somewhere."
Okay.
Yeah, but she introduced herself, and we didn't get into the nitty gritty or whatever. But because you guys had floaters, I had been dealing with each floater until they floated out. And then each time frame between floaters, there was nobody. So we had issues with that. But I lived in Tucson. She lived here, and still very active. Nothing's changed. Layla called me one day, and the reason why I live here now is because Layla called me one day, and she was like, "Dad, I can't do this anymore." The kids, first off, time out, they love their mom. Okay, there's no problems there with love. Okay. However, my daughter, she's a daddy's girl. She favors me. This is just how it is. Okay. She called me and she's like, "Dad, I can't do this anymore. I want you to take me to school. I want you to take me to my doctor's appointments. I want you to do this, X, Y, and Z." I told her that the only way that I would do that, the only way I could do that is if I lived there. Right. And she was just like, "Make it happen." So, so I did. I made it happen. And I moved up here in 1 month. That's just how it worked. I quit my job. I came up here with no job. I got a place. Got a new job. Here we are. And so after that time frame, Tasha and I were beautiful. Okay, doing things together, fun, family stuff, no issues. But once she indicated that these goals that she has are that she really wants, it made it a problem for me. Okay, California, San Diego is 5.5, 6 hours away. I can't do that every week. Okay, I already am aware of that. Tucson was hard enough as it was. I'm not going to put myself back in that situation. This is where the problem comes in at. Okay, and then she began to find things that we were already always doing and make them a problem now. Okay,
About the time frame.
This also COVID. So let's just start with
COVID.
Yeah. So right. So COVID is the issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Like the lockdown and the pandemic, or
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, we're talking about 2020.
Okay.
Okay. Long story short, we divorced in 2015. Up to 2015 to 2020, zero problems. Okay, zero issues. mainly because I was more giving. I was more like, sure, no problem. I don't
Right.
care. I will go beyond out of my way in order to just take care of whatever your issue is, because if your issue is fixed, it benefits the kids. That's
Right.
really how I justified it. Okay. This is also not a reciprocal thing. Okay. I can't just call. But I also didn't need issues. I have my support team and I figured my problems out. 2020 happened. She gets a new career, she gets a new job, she starts to get ambitious about what she wants to do, no problem. Now she's leaning towards moving to California. I tell her we have a problem. That is where our problem began. Okay. And so my daughter was taken in 2020 because I spanked her. Okay. Long story short, she ran out in the streets with food. I was out there, we were barbecuing for the community. During the pandemic, I was working from home. We were barbecuing. Everybody got a plate. Everybody got these big plates, and we were taking the plates to our neighbors that lived in the same complex. Me and my son were together. My daughter decides to run out in the streets. She ran out in the streets. She spilled all the food while she was playing. She got in trouble. I spanked her in the same way that I've been spanking her for the last 9 years. Okay, she jumped, she moved, left a mark. My ex decided that that mark was too much. She called the police, she called DCS without even notifying or talking to me. Okay, she just immediately said this is abuse, got the restraining order. That's how that went. Okay, a year later after I got my daughter back, she runs out in the street again because mom was telling her that daddy was wrong, and she gets hit by a car. Okay, now we have this problem. Okay, so you were here when she got hit by a car. I don't know if you knew.
I was.
Well, she got hit by a car in 2021, so that was a year later.
I was still, this is my first year here at this school,
Oh,
this school year. I was
okay.
gonna say, I didn't,
It feels long.
It
it
does.
feels
It does.
really long,
Gosh.
yes.
Okay,
So, yeah,
well, she was taken in September 2020. Okay, I got her back. No, I'm sorry. Technically she was taken in September 2020. I got her back October 2020.
Okay.
Okay.
okay,
That same exact month, she gets hit by a car.
okay.
Okay. Me and my daughter had a conversation about that. Do you remember why Daddy took you? Yes. Why? Because I ran out in the streets and I was playing and you spanked me. Mom took me. Okay, perfect. At any period of time while I was spanking you, no, I asked her, did the spanking hurt? She said, yes. I said, okay, perfect. I said, during the spanking at any time, did you think I was going to kill you? She said, no. I said, now that you got hit by this car, did this car hurt? She says, yes. I said, at any period of time, did you think that this car was going to kill you? She says, absolutely. As soon as they hit the brakes, I saw their eyes. I thought I was dead. Exactly. None of my spankings can ever go as far as this. This is what I was preventing you for. Now that you have this lesson, right, what are we going to do about it? Well, when she gets out of the car, when she even goes to the streets, I'm next to her. And she forces herself to be next to me. And this happened in 2021. So that problem has been secured. But due to that problem being secure like that, it's also changed her way of thinking towards mom. Okay? So now this is a problem now. Okay? Because for the full year, mom was telling her dad's wrong, dad's this, dad's that, blah, 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 blah. She had no choice but to feed into it, even though she was extremely rebellious during that time frame. She put her in therapy, but she blocked me from therapy. She told the therapist that there's a restraining order and his rights have been removed, and that wasn't the case. I just had a restraining order. My rights as a parent were still active, so I should have still had access, but she blocked me for about 8 months. The problem was so severe that they actually changed their policy at the company, right? That's how bad it was. Once they realized that what they had done, and I forced them to understand it, they were like, our policy has changed. Okay. So with that being said, when I got access to Layla's records and notes, I realized all the problems that Layla was doing. Okay. During the restraining order, it was so bad that even Tasha reached out to me and said, hey, I need your help in disciplining her. Right? There's a restraining order against me that you placed because I disciplined our daughter, and yet you're calling me to ask me for assistance to discipline our daughter over the phone. This doesn't make any sense to me, okay? And she was informing me that Layla has done X, Y, and Z, and I can't control her anymore. My response, stop the restraining order. We never had these problems before. Like, let's do this. She didn't want to do it. Then once I began to fight back and try to, for the first 9 months, I was depressed. I was sad, I was depressed, I was miserable, and I couldn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. You know, I just
Kind of numb.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't know what to do. So when I went to court the first time to fight the restraining order, I was ignorant to the law and how to do it. And when I went and I presented all my information, I was actually in the wrong court. She made it in a criminal court versus a family court. Those are completely two different judges, and they do two different things. I didn't know that. I thought a judge was a judge, and I was just going to plead my case. This judge was not like that. He was like, did this happen? Yes, end of discussion, next case. Versus, why did it happen? Right? Like, okay, you were disciplining her. When is, no questions being asked like that. It was, did this, did that happen? Yes, based on the law of Arizona, you're guilty. Restraining order stands. Have a nice day. Okay. She indicates that the kids don't want to be with me and they are afraid of me and stuff like that. When I showed up to pick up my daughter, when the restraining order was completed, Layla came out with a box of things that she had created for me throughout this entire time that she was gone, right? Before, she would sneak notes back and forth to with my son, because I still had my son. And so she would give him notes, and the notes would say, I miss you, I love you, blah, 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 whatever, I'm sorry. Sometimes she would say things that was really emotional, like, I'm sorry for what I did. Like, she's the reason for the cause of this and stuff like that. And me not being able to respond heavily broke me down.
Yeah.
Okay. But got a lawyer, got my energy back. I was able to serve out the term. Now I have access to my daughter. The therapist that Tasha put her in, it's funny because I watched the transition of their opinion about me change. I mean, at first they never heard from me; they only heard about me, and they denied me access. Once I had access, they were very cautious and this. Which is fine, I understand. Once my daughter found out that I now have access to her therapist, she became more open in talking to her therapist because she was aware that her dad was going to be talking to her. Okay. When she got back with me and we were able to do therapy together, the therapist clearly saw a new child. She's acting completely different than what she would with her mom. She's very open. She's playful. She's laughing about things. She's more this. She's more that. They decided to, you know what? There's nothing here to see. Okay, we're going to start to slowly discharge her. Okay, no problem. Great. Mom didn't like that. Mom is like, no, I need you to see what I see. And if you're not going to see that, she started causing problems. Well, because you're going to discharge the kids, let me tell you all the stuff that she's doing now, right? She's trying to run away. She's talking about suicide. She is doing X, Y, and Z. The therapist's response is, why didn't you tell us this before? Okay. Well, I don't have a real answer for that. Well, because we don't see anything, we're going to have to follow suit with discharging her. Okay. No problem. I'll just remove them, but I'm going to force you to give me a recommendation to another therapy place. And so that's what she did. She terminated their contract there prematurely, and then she switched over to a new place, and she started the exact same process. Dad's abusive. Dad has a restraining order. Dad doesn't have access. Now that's where we are with the new therapy place. My son's situation, similar. Okay. During that same time frame that Layla was taken, my ex would tell me that she wants Ridwan to have therapy. And I'm like, Ridwan doesn't need therapy. Yes, he's pissed. Yes, he's angry. Yes, this, that, and the third. These are all facts. But therapy is not needed. And the reason why therapy is not needed, because he has therapy. Not only does he have me, he has you, and he has my entire family that I had mentioned before, right? We're all supporting him. He constantly is being bombarded with love, support, whatever. He doesn't need that. Well, when some time had went by, I said, you know what? I'll humor this. I want him to have therapy with you, but I wanted him to do it not because I needed him to have it. I wanted the documentation, right? I wanted the professional to say, yeah, this kid is fine. And that's exactly what they did, okay? Now, she was saying that he was suicidal, that he has suicidal thoughts and tendencies and stuff. She kept this information from us for months, okay? She didn't tell anybody, okay? Then when she finally did say he is suicidal, it was over a phone call. She calls me up. My daughter is still taken at this time. And stop me if I'm going too much.
No,
okay?
No,
We're following,
actively
yeah.
listening.
It,
Your story's important to us.
Mm-hmm.
So during the time that my daughter was still taken, I'm not really sure if I had access to her notes or not at this time, but I get a phone call. I'm at home. Both kids are with mom. My son is just crying hysterically, okay? Video chatting me, okay? I tell him to calm down, right? We do our steps that we do when he's emotional, right? Calm down. What is my job? Who am I? You're Daddy Jackson. That's right. What is my job? My job is to take care of me and to protect me. Perfect. I'm not there to do that particular thing, so you're going to have to tell me what the problem is in order for me to help you help the problem. But you're going to have to calm down. Breathe, son, right? After I get him to take care of that, he begins to tell me what the situation is. Long story short, him and mom got into an altercation because mom believed that he kicked Layla's flute or guitar or something down the steps. He says that it was at the top of the steps. He did not, and that's where the problem comes in, okay? Now, my son is very passive, right? He doesn't want to cause problems, okay? So I'm like, okay, son, mom's there, but I don't know that, okay? I don't know where she is, but she is there, and she's listening to me talk to him. And then I begin to ask him what's happening, and he's trying his best to explain it. Then mom starts to yell and scream at him and at me through the phone by telling him that she is upset that nobody is doing anything to remove me from their life, and because she has to raise the kids with an abusive person, okay? Layla's in the room. I also don't know that, but she's not talking, okay? My son is trying to express to me, I'm focused on him. I'm just like, son, ignore everything else. Tell me what's going on. So he basically tells me, and then she says, tell your dad what else you said, because he doesn't believe me. And then he said that I wanted to kill myself, okay? I said, okay. I said, all right, let's stop here. Let's talk about the killing myself part. What is this? Let's do that. So he tells me that he has bad thoughts and he has, this and he has that. And I said, son, why haven't you ever told me this? And he says, because I forget when I'm with you, because I just forget when I'm with you. That is my son's MO. No problem, son, I get that. But now that Daddy knows, we have to take different approaches, okay? So we talked about the suicide, and this conversation lasted for a little over an hour. And by the end of it, I got him to laugh and all of that. So I told him when he comes home, we're going to further discuss this. So that's when I said, okay, let's do therapy, okay? Because the problem that she's having is not what I'm having, okay? So the issue can't be over here. And when he came home that day, the following Sunday, he told me that that's what the incident happened. But before the call happened, he ran into his room and he slammed the door. Okay, mom got upset. She came in the room. She told him not to slam the door or she was going to take it off the hinges. He said, I don't care. I just want to kill myself, And then she ended up forcing our daughter to go downstairs and get a knife. Layla fought her on that. She forced her to do it. Layla gave her the knife, and then mom gave the knife to Ridwan and said, let's see. And so Ridwan took the knife and he threw it. Okay, he threw it away from him. Okay, I didn't find this story out until Sunday because I stopped it as soon as he heard that, and I wanted to focus on that. I remember, because you weren't here, I called the school, and I was trying to talk to the counselor at the time, and he told me he didn't want to get involved because it sounds like this is just a tick for tack, okay? And so I was at a loss there.
It was a male counselor at that time?
Yes, it was a male
Okay.
counselor.
I know which one it is
Yeah,
then.
it was a male counselor. I called the school, set an appointment, talked to him, and he basically told me that, like, you know, I can't do anything because it sounds like, you know, you and mom have something going on, and mom's already, you know, talked to us, and like, you're gonna have to take another route. And so that's when I was like, fuck it, you know, therapy it is, I guess. You know what I mean? And so that lasted, but because I had access to therapy, we all did everything together. We were able to overcome that, and they're signing off on their documentation to discharge that. Radwan was doing therapy every week. The therapist decided that he should be doing every other week because he's showing progress. Mom didn't like that. She wants him to be there every week, if not more. And then she decided to take him out. And now we're at Open Heart, and I'm trying to fight with them to get access to their account, get files, the whole 9 yards.
Like starting over for the third time. So that's what I hear you
Is
saying.
this the third?
Yes.
The third therapy.
Well,
place.
this is the second therapy place, but I believe this is a third or fourth therapist.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if she doesn't like the therapist, she's just going to be like, nope. And then she's going to go to the next one. Nope. Okay, I don't like you guys. Let's go to another therapy place. Okay. She contacted the therapy company, and she had a meeting with every higher up individual until somebody basically said, I hear you, but the answer is no. And then she was like, fine, I'll just leave and I'll go somewhere else. Okay. So that's where we are. Okay. As far as the school is concerned, I don't know what happened when she came up here to have the meeting with you guys, other than what my daughter told me. My daughter, basically, long story short, she said that she was just sad and she was embarrassed about the whole issue on what happened, and that she didn't speak and she didn't have a voice because it was mom. She comes home and she tells me this has happened multiple times in multiple arenas, at the doctor's offices, when the doctor says the kid is fine, and like my ex is like, the kid is not fine, you guys don't know how to do your job, you guys aren't listening to me, blah, 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 blah. And my daughter has to sit there and listen to that, and she's just very sad and depressed about that. My son, he actually has a wall that he puts up that he will just block out stuff, and he will go into his safe place, and like that event just never occurred to him unless it's dealing specifically with him and his attention is being drawn to it, okay? Or his sister is in danger or something like that. My daughter, on the other hand, she's observing everything, and she's trying to make her decision on what she needs to do next, if this place is safe or not. Two completely different personalities. So when she comes home and she tells me that, I have to, redirect her and tell her, Mom, is, it's okay. You may not have understood everything that Mom was saying to the doctor or to your counselor or whoever it is that she's talking about. But those things now are becoming more and more. We have a rule in our house. We don't lie to each other, right? That's just, my job is the same as your job, is the same as your brother's job. It's to help and protect each other. We can't do our job if you're lying to us. The kids are very clear about that, okay? So when we lie, we know that the punishment of whatever it is that we're talking about of lying is going to be times 3. Because we stop here, we address the lie, the reason why you lied, and then now the reason of what the lie brought into, right? I've been doing this for years, right? The kids are very open and clear. Hey, Dad, listen, I wrote this, okay? I just want to let you know, all right?
Get it done.
Let's
just
just get this over with,
Yeah.
okay? And I understand what they're trying to do because, there's consequences, and they are very aware of that, very aware of that. But what's also very aware is that my daughter is very keen because she's the slick one out of everybody, right? She's always looking for an angle, right?
She's an observer.
My gosh. And I taught her how to be that way because me and my ex's parenting was different when we were raising her in the early stages, and I didn't understand that our parenting was different. I just thought we were being combative. But one famous moment is that My daughter always believed that whatever Daddy says is the way it is, period, no matter what, whoever says what. And so she would ask me last, right? Or she would ask me if she knew absolutely it was going to be yes for me. Okay. So
Funny how girls know how to do that right away. Yeah.
oh, this is when Layla was 4. Layla was like 3. We were still married, we were living together, and Layla wanted to go outside and blow bubbles, right? Something simple. My ex says, no, you can't go outside and blow bubbles. And Layla says, well, I want to blow bubbles. And so she says, well, I'm going to blow bubbles right here in the kitchen. And my ex is like, no, you can't blow bubbles in the kitchen, and you can't go outside and blow bubbles. So Layla got mad, and I left and I went into the back room or whatever, because that was it for me. Tasha came in the back room. We talked about whatever. It wasn't a big deal, but the back door opened, okay? And so my ex was like, I know this damn girl did not go outside after I told her not to go outside. And I'm thinking, I heard her say don't go outside, and I heard my daughter tell her that she understands that this is what you know. So I'm like, you're going to be in trouble. There ain't nothing for Diddy to do. So my ex goes out, and I'm right behind her, and I'm just like, we got to do this. But my daughter is in the kitchen, doors open, and she's blowing bubbles outside, okay? And so my ex tells her, I told you not to blow bubbles, not to go outside. Layla's like, I'm not outside. I told you not to blow bubbles in the house. I'm not. I'm blowing bubbles outside. Now, at this point, I'm
This is the
sitting back.
Einstein Island with that
This is Layla.
Right? So at this point, I'm trying to creep into the shadows because I don't want to be seen, because I already know how this conversation is going. I don't want no part of it, okay? But then I get dragged into it, okay? Get out here and deal with your daughter. All right, baby. Hey, listen, let's find something else to play with. No, I don't want that. I want you to tell her that she's wrong, and I want you to co-sign. And I tell her she's not wrong, like she found a loophole, and you can't be mad at that, right? She specifically did exactly what it is that you said, and she accomplished her own mission, okay? So you can't be upset. So that was just one of many cases, when she used to live up in Tucson, I went to visit them once, and Layla was excited to see me, and they both had stuff that they wanted to share with me that they had done that week. Ridwan was first, and he was showing me, but Layla kind of bumped him, and Ridwan started to cry, and Tasha overheard, and she's like, Layla, you did this, da 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 da. Go to your room, So that's what Layla did. Layla went to her room. She stayed there for 30 seconds or so, and then she came back out, and she started to do the exact damn thing that she was just doing. Tasha said, I told you to go to your room. I did. I went to my room, and I came back out, and now I'm talking to my dad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a repeat of everything else, Neither one of these women have figured out how to communicate with each other, And so I explained to Tasha, when you are disciplined or giving instructions in order, be very specific on what you're talking about, because what she's doing is she is listening to you, okay? And she's doing exactly what you say versus what you mean, right? And she's getting away with it. I will always co-sign with her if she did exactly what she was told to do, okay? Versus what you mean for this to be, right? This doesn't add up, right? I didn't want to bring in this, the reason why we got divorced, but this is what we're dealing with. And so what happened was that I was more able to control the kids, right? That's really how that ended up working out. And so that's why any problems that had happened, I was always informed and notified so that we can address it as a team. And then the kids know mom and dad communicate. I can't be trying to trick mom because mom's going to call dad. And this ain't going to look good for me. Kids are fine. Okay. Go ahead.
Nope.
So.
Do you need water?
Yes.
I got bottles of water.
Okay.
I got that. They're little ones, but
That's
I got
fine. That's fine.
I know this takes a lot to be this vulnerable with your kids' school. So
It does.
It does. It takes a lot.
It does. But I find myself having to be vulnerable pretty much with anybody that I contact now, because if she's gotten to them first, I can already feel the pre-existing understanding of who I am, you know,
In every room.
in every room I walk in, you know. You know, she's making YouTube videos, you know, saying that I'm abusive, you know, and my friends are reaching out saying, yo, man, what is going on? You know, then she's emailing them, she's sending them. It's just like these people, you know, grew up with us, right? They watched us in our 10-year marriage. You know, we've been together for over a decade and a half. And now you want to tell them after 20 years of knowing us, that I was abusive during the time that they were in our lives? Like, they saw this. You're trying to change their knowledge and stuff too. And it's difficult. And so at the school, I find that my kids Layla was becoming more aggressive, you know, and Ridwan, you know, Layla's aggression. Layla's fine. Like after she came home, it took about 6-7 days. It took about a week for me to knock out all of her problems. Most of that was just her believing that I was not going anywhere, right? Like, she didn't want this situation to happen again. So it was just me confirming with her that I'm not leaving. The day I picked her up was the same day that we went back home to St. Louis to visit my family for a week. And Layla, I had a hard time pushing Layla to her cousins because she's like, I'm just going to be with you the whole time. What are you doing? Where are we going? You know what I mean? And so, and I understood, everybody understood, you know, but that was her issue. Even her therapist at the time, we video chatted, and, you know, she saw, that was the first time that she saw Layla fully interacting with me, you know, and I'm like, look, this is the girl, you know, like, this is what she is. And my son, you know, he is, first off, he's not suicidal. Like, I didn't want to skip over that. He did have suicidal thoughts, but they were easily addressed. You know, he didn't have a plan or anything like that. He just wanted the problem that he was having to freaking stop. You know, he wanted to be heard. When she called me and told me that he was suicidal on the phone, when he was yelling and stuff, he stood up to her. You know, she was yelling at him and he said, no, like, that's not what I said. No, this is not what happened. No. Very straightforward. These are tactics and skills that me and Layla possess. Ridwan does not really utilize them. So by him utilizing them, I knew that there was a problem because he had gotten to his limit. Okay. Fast forward. Now I have both children. Okay. And the year that I had both children, no problems. Okay. Layla's back, Ridwan's back. I worked on Layla. That took a week. But now I need to work on them together, okay? Because Layla was incredibly aggressive towards him the entire time that he was coming back and forth, and Layla wasn't, okay? Ridwan would come home for a week, and half the week it would be me trying to encourage him that he has the strength to go back to mom's to deal with Layla and her aggression, stuff like that. And so now, a year goes by, no problems. The kids are showing incredible signs of improvement, hence the reason why the therapist is like, yeah, these kids need to get out. We got kids that are really trying to commit suicide and do other stuff. And so now Ridwan is taken. Perfect. Ridwan is taken, and while he's being taken, Layla's basically doing the same thing that Ridwan did when she was taken. She comes home, she tells me about him. This is what's going on with Ridwan, blah, blah, blah. And there was one incident at the school that Layla said, she said, Dad, I'm nervous. And what are you nervous about, honey? I'm nervous because Ridwan is becoming dangerous. Now Ridwan's not dangerous. Ridwan wants to grow up and be a Care Bear. Like, that's really, that's what he gonna do. You know what I'm saying? He's a sweet ass kid. Yeah. Like, there ain't no other way of describing him. Yeah. Right? You know, he doesn't like violence. Me and my kids, we horseplay a lot. Ridwan is the most sensitive one. He'll be like, okay, I'm done. You know, Layla, she'll keep going, you know. And I said, okay, tell me about this. And then she tells me of an incident where she was on the playground and Ridwan was yelling at these two girls when they were with he was with his friend. And I said, okay, tell me about it. And she was like, well, I went out there and I saw Ridwan and I went to talk to him, but he was making fun of these girls and he was putting them down and stuff like that. So when I approached him, I asked him, I said, what are you doing? And he told me that they were bothering him and they were messing with him and his friend. And then Layla said that what you're saying to them is not good. We don't do that, okay? And then she turned to the girls and she told them that this is my brother. You're gonna leave him alone. Leave us alone now. And the girls left. And then Layla again readdressed Ridwan and told him this is not acceptable, right? Like whatever it is that he had said to them, she didn't like it enough to where she herself corrected it. And then she felt like this was a pattern in his behavior, okay? And this happened like maybe 4 months ago. As of now, I talked to Layla and she says, no, I don't think that he's a bully anymore. That's what the word she used. Ridwan is being a bully. Okay. But he still shows aggression towards her at the house. But she also indicates that mom keeps them separated. For instance, when either one of them gets in trouble, their punishment is to get away from the other person, regardless if the other person had anything to do with it. You're going to be in your room. You can't talk to your brother. So Layla will literally be at her mom's for a week and not see her brother unless they're in the car going back and forth to school, okay? Or if they bump into each other at school. When they're at the house, they're not together a lot of the times. And so this is bad, and when they are together, Ridwan has his animosity because he's now in the situation where he's not home, and Layla is, it's that civil rivalry. My ex will say that the kids fight a lot. I've never had these problems with the kids. Yeah, they fight, but they're brother and sister. Like that's what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. I still fight with my brother. Okay, but we are not fighting. We are not fighting, and they are not fighting. Plus, when they do get into altercations with me being present, I monitor it. Right, I can hear them upstairs yelling and screaming, whatever, and whoop-de-wop. They are aware that whatever the problem is that they're going to, do not get me involved. Whether they come down and tell me, or whether they make me believe that there's some type of damage. The reason why is because if I have to get involved, if a third party gets involved, they may or may not make a ruling on your behalf because they don't know who's right or wrong. They don't know who started it. They're getting their information, they're making their decree, and it may or may not be in your favor. So it's best for you two to work it out, to figure it out. That's how the kids function when they're with me, okay? Layla or Ridwan will come downstairs, or I'm gonna go tell Dad. Whoa, wait, hold up. Let's see what we can do here. So you want this toy for how long? Just 10 minutes? Okay, because Dad is probably gonna tell us to just take the toy and donate it to some kids that actually know how to share. Because at the end of the day, my job is to watch over you and to take care of you and to protect you, and I can't be doing that if I'm fighting you. So Dad's just gonna alleviate the problem, okay? And I want this toy for tomorrow. So they are aware of that, right? But they still do come to me with their issues. Dad, this is what my problem is. This is what's going on, and then they get what I might say, and then they decide that they're gonna do it or not. But as far as school is concerned, I don't know all that transpired with the meeting that happened before winter break, but Layla said that it was bad. I am aware that my ex has had contact with you, which means that more than guaranteed that the story that I just gave you is not the same story that she gave you, which is fine, okay? The reason that I'm telling you this story is because there's another side to her story, okay? In addition to that, my kids see the truth, and they love both of us. There is no doubt about that.
I saw that. I was so glad to see you at conferences because I saw that. Your kids love both of you.
Yeah.
And I was sincere. You have good kids.
They are good kids.
You have good kids, so I know these kids are loved.
They are really good kids. I tell them when they come home from their moms, I tell them, thank you for coming home. Right? That is one of the first things that I say to them. Thank you for coming home, okay? The second thing is that I thank them for me being their father. Thank you for letting me be your father. I appreciate that. I am proud to be your father, okay? And I'm happy that you are my daughter. I am happy that you are my son, okay? I constantly inform them of this, right? Whether they're being praised because they did something great or whether they're being punished because they did something naughty, okay? I constantly show them that. If you ask either one of my kids, how are they punished? They do something stupid, daddy gets involved, we talk about it, they get disciplined, then we talk about it again. Mm-hmm. And then right after we talk about it again, so that they know exactly what had transpired before, I let them know that I care about them and I love them. Give me a hug, give me a kiss, and go to your room, okay? And that's how this works. Like, that has been my system the entire time that they've been alive. So the only thing that varies is what discipline you're going to get based on the action that you cause to make the punishment. Whether it's a spanking, whether the toy being taken, whether it's just go to your room, whether it's something, whatever. That is the only variable that changes. Everything else in that equation, it happens in that order, okay? And so, but yeah, you saw it. The same thing that the therapist saw, okay? But I'm very sure that my ex tells you that the kids are being abused and they don't want to come home and they don't want to see me, okay? So this is the same thing that she was telling the therapist. And this is the same opinion because her page is blank, right? I don't publicly come out and say, she's a bad person, this is what's going on, whatever. I just deal with I'm a defender, but I have to be attacked first. Mm-hmm. And then once I'm attacked, I defend my position and then I go no further. And then you just find someplace else to attack me from, okay? But this is getting severe. The kids are being highly affected. It's affecting their academics. Layla's school, when she was taken, it dropped significantly, okay, until she found out that I was talking to her therapist and I had access. Then she was like, shit, gotta get my stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Like, daddy's here, daddy's present. You know, at any moment he can show up, you know, not knowing that I'm still in contact with her teachers, not knowing that I'm still doing this. So, you know, the truth is in the kids. You know, just ask the kids, you know, what is this? And they will break it down, okay? But leading questions, you know, especially, you know, like to my son who's just trying to make everybody happy because his goal is to be a Care Bear when he grows up. Like, that's not always the best policy. I keep trying to tell him to stand up for yourself and speak what it is that you feel is true versus trying to give people what they believe is right, okay? Because those two things may not always jive together, okay? Layla, she learned that long ago, so, you know, but she's a lot more aggressive with it. You push her to a certain point, which is not very hard to push, right? She'll snap, and then you'll see sassiness, you'll see aggression, you'll see her, you know, standing her ground, whether she's right or wrong, but then she'll lose track and focus because she's so emotional about whatever it is. You know, she doesn't care what it is that you're saying. She just wants you to go away and the situation to be over with. Okay.
So what I hear you saying is you would like us to be particularly careful whenever dealing with the kids about like an issue or a problem.
Yes.
About the way we ask them questions.
Yes.
About facts and stuff like that. I think that's a very reasonable request.
Yeah, because, you know, they are emotional, you know, right now. They have the information and they know the truth, but they, at the end of the day, they just want it to stop, right? They don't like knowing that me and mom are battling, okay? I don't say negative things about my ex to the kids, you know, and because I don't lie to my kids, and because Layla is very crafty in her wordings, because, you know, she takes after her daddy, it's becoming very, very difficult to answer her questions truthfully without being negative about mom, okay? It's becoming increasingly more difficult because Layla will challenge whatever it is that I say, and now we're having a discussion. And I don't want to be the parent to just say, well, you heard what I said, just do that, right? I explain to them all the way until they're understanding, and then I leave it be.
And it's our job to say positive things about both of you to your children? Like,
No, I
that
mean,
that we honor their parents.
yeah, I
And
mean,
I want you to know that we have been respecting both of the parents and just tried to kind of keep it when
Neutral?
we do
Is that
very
the right-
neutral.
Yeah, that is-
Yeah.
word?
that
Yeah.
is neutral is fine. Not like the counselor before. I could tell you that. You know, neutral is fine. I would recommend when dealing with Layla, because their personalities are so different, be more so understanding about mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because she loves her and she'll never stop loving her, but she doesn't respect her in the way that she should. And my ex believes that the kids fear me, but it's the respect that she's actually witnessing. You know, it's not fear. We respect Dad's opinion. We respect Dad's decision. My daughter just found out that my name is not Daddy. Okay, like last year. You know what I mean? She thought that I was everybody's daddy. You know what I'm saying? And my son, on the other hand, he, embrace more so himself, right? He needs that encouragement for himself because, again, he's a swayer, right? He's just trying to get through, the waters, and he's not gonna fight the current or anything like that, But so they need help in different ways,
Okay.
right? They need help in different ways. I am a little concerned if my son is becoming more of a bully, and maybe Layla is not seeing it because she does say that she doesn't see him all the time on the playground because there are schedules and stuff like that. But when she was coming home and she was telling me of him being a bully, and she's telling me the type of things that he's saying and doing to her at her mom's, it does make me believe that he might be becoming more aggressive. And I don't know if that
I
is.
haven't had any incidents.
I haven't had aggressive incidents with Ridwan. I had one problem-solving incident with Ridwan, and it wasn't Ridwan doing anything. It was Ridwan coming in, and he was more of the one that had something said to him. And he was very nervous coming up to talk. It was like that was not a place that he wanted to be.
That's good.
He had a healthy respect for the principal's office.
Good. Then that tells me that he is still the same boy.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Have you been able to reach out to his third grade teacher?
No. Well, I did have a parent-teacher conference with her.
Okay.
And that's with
Stoltzfus, yeah.
So, Monday.
Okay.
And she said that he was excellent. Like, he was great. So
she would be the first person to know. She's very, she knows her kids very well. And so if there was anything concerning that you needed to know, she would be able to report it.
Perfect. Okay.
But I haven't had anything.
And then I will be honest, and we're just making this plan in front of you right now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But if we have disciplinary issues, I'm here twice a week, and then I go to another school twice a
Okay.
week. So when I do discipline issues, typically I call just usually one parent.
Yeah.
To give them the information about what happened and fill them in. I think that maybe
I think we need to do two.
we'll make 2 phone calls.
Please do know that anything that you say to my ex is not passing through to me, right?
Okay.
She will not give me information. Since
We're coming to that awareness pretty recently. Yeah.
As long as we have the legal,
I know.
we have to follow the legal
No.
parts, which we have legal rights to contact you, so.
That is correct.
So
That is
then-
correct. I know that she's trying her best to, to have that removed, and she's trying her best to make it seem like it is already removed. Okay, I have to reinforce people. Look, I still have my parental rights. Let me not show you how Layla got her smarts. Okay, before you were here, I came up to the school and they were like, well, you can't talk to Layla. I said, I'm not trying to talk to Layla. Like I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. I said, fine, you want to find loopholes? Let me show you what a loophole is. Since my parental rights have not been moved, I need the list to where I can put somebody on that list as an authorized person to talk to and communicate and pick up the kids, right? You can't stop me from doing that. Perfect. I'll go wait out in the car, and this person right here is going to walk up to the desk, show you their ID, and tell you to get the kid, right? Like, this is how we're gonna play this game. You wanna go the long way? No problem. They understood, yeah, this guy's not playing, right? Like, great, okay? But, you know, yes, I still have my rights, okay? Please contact me, right? Because I don't get information from her. And when I do, it's like, I gotta figure it out myself, right? What is she trying to say? What does this mean, right? What is going on, okay?
So we can ask the teachers the same thing.
We can ask the teachers the same thing. So my next question was, when teachers communicate homework, or when teachers communicate, say we have a field trip coming up.
Yep.
You want whatever communication's going to mom, you want the same thing?
CC me.
Okay.
Just CC me.
Okay.
We use an app typically called Dojo.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
So a class-wide anything that's going out, you are receiving those from both classes, is that correct?